organic, unpredictable, unknown, lovely, beautiful, a sense of fulfillment. This is part of the pleasures of life and not the chores of life.
Coming up on Daily Iowan TV, we look back at the Gonglu shootings on the UI campus as Tuesday marks the 20th anniversary of this tragic event.
Plus, see why 2 of the flood-damaged buildings on the UI Arts campus may be preserved instead of demolished.
And in sports, after another disappointing loss to Minnesota, see what Kirk Ferentz had to say about this weekend's home game against the 15th-ranked Michigan Wolverines.
That's all coming your way next.
Daily Iowan TV starts now.
Thanks for tuning into your Tuesday edition of Daily Iowan TV, your television news, sports, and weather source for the Daily Iowan. I'm Megan Grody.
And I'm John Dedcott. Friday, November 1st, 1991. What started out as a normal day for the University of Iowa ended in tragedy. Daily Iowan TV's Christina Targos takes a look at what happened here 20 years ago.
This was the front page of the Daily Iowan newspaper on November 2nd, 1991, the day after the tragic Gonglu shooting here at the University of Iowa. Gonglu had been a physics and astronomy student that received his doctoral degree from the UI earlier that May. He became infuriated that his dissertation did not receive the D.C. Spreedersbach Dissertation Prize, so for the next few months he planned his revenge. Around 4 p.m. on November 1st, 1991, this was the scene outside Van Allen Hall. Lou had attended a physics and astronomy department meeting where he pulled out a gun and took the lives of 4 UI faculty members and 1 student. After Van Allen, he walked a few short blocks to Jessup Hall, where he fatally wounded T. Ann Cleary and seriously wounded another student before taking his own life. His other victims were Christoph Goetz, Dwight Nicholson, Robert Smith, and Lena Schahn, the student that had won the D.C. Spreedersbach Dissertation Prize. Even though President Sally Mason was not at this university the day of the shooting, she still remembers it quite vividly.
There's not a single person who was alive and working in higher education on that day that doesn't remember it. I happened to be at the University of Kansas, and I can remember because I was in the dean's office that day and we got a phone call, and I actually didn't believe it at first.
This was an event that shocked the nation, and one that will always be remembered here at the UI. Christina Targos, Daily Iowan TV.
And even all these years later, our hearts go out to all the family and friends that lost someone on that tragic day.
After 2008 floods devastated much of the University of Iowa's art campus, many art, music, and theater classes were left without permanent homes. The Art Building West reopened its doors last month, and officials have made progress in determining the design and location of a new music building since the flood. However, FEMA is considering designating 2 of the art campus buildings as historic sites that need preservation. The art building and the structure that contains Voxman Music Building's Clapp Recital Hall and Hancher Auditorium may satisfy the National Historic Preservation requirements, according to FEMA Historic Preservation Specialist Terry Toy. Check out Wednesday's Daily Iowan for a more in-depth look at this issue.
Despite a disappointing loss this past weekend, head football coach Kirk Ferentz continues to be the top-paid state official in Iowa. According to a report released Tuesday, Ferentz brings in $3.86 million a year, far ahead of the $1.28 that the UI's Vice President of Medical Affairs, Jean Robillard, makes. Rounding out the top 5, however, are more coaches. Iowa State head football coach Paul Rhodes came in 3rd with $1.1 million, and 3rd and 4th on the list are the UI's former head basketball coach Todd Licklider and current coach Fran McCaffrey, both bringing in nearly $900,000 a year.
2 Iowa City men are facing felony charges after authorities found marijuana, a digital scale, cash, and multiple weapons during a search of their apartment in August. Jacob Newman and Christopher Smith are both being charged with possession of a controlled substance with intent to distribute and possession of drug paraphernalia. Smith is also facing an additional felony charge gathering for use of drugs. The 2 have been released from the Johnson County Jail on their own recognizance.
Still more to come on Daily Iowan TV. Learn about increased Hispanic enrollment at the UI.
Plus, see what Iowa players had to say in preparation for this week's game against Michigan. But first, Daily Iowan TV's Christina Targos joins us in the studio for a look at your local weather forecast.
It was pleasant outside today as temperatures reached the 70s, but Wednesday we will see conditions more typical of what to expect in November. You can expect a chilly 51 degrees and a possibility of rain around 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. That chance of rain will continue, and you can expect about 54 degrees around noon. And by 9 p.m. it should cool all the way down to 38 degrees. As we look at the extended forecast, we may see our first snow of the season on Thursday. However, that won't stick around, and you can expect about 51 degrees around kickoff for Saturday's game. It should get up to about 57 degrees by 3 p.m. Highs will remain in the 50s as we make our way into next week, and we will likely see some rain again next Tuesday. That's your check of the weather. Back to you at the desk.
Thanks, Christina. Even though today was the 1st of November, you certainly wouldn't have guessed it if you were outside. Temps hit the mid-70s this afternoon, and the women's ultimate frisbee team took full advantage of it during their practice at Hubbard Park. Many of the team members wore shorts and t-shirts outside for perhaps the last time this year, and the team is used to much colder conditions this time of year, so today's warm temps made for a pleasant surprise.
Yeah, we've had to play tournaments in the snow in November, so this is definitely good weather for us.
The team will wrap up their season by Thanksgiving.
A University of Iowa law professor has been named to the Minority 40 Under 40 list by the National Law Journal. Angela Onwuchi-Willig landed on the list because of her work in gender and racial law. She was also one of 9 finalists selected to fill 3 justice vacancies on the Iowa Supreme Court last January. Onwuchi-Willig earned her BA from Grinnell College and got her law degree at the University of Michigan. She joined the University of Iowa Law Facility in 2006.
Hispanic enrollment increased by 235 students at the University of Iowa over the past year. The UI offers a number of resource centers and programs on campus, including an office specifically designed to assist with cultural diversity and enrichment. This is crucial considering the UI's Latino population is up to 1,335 registered students compared to 1,099 1 year ago. This coincides with a national trend which saw non-Hispanic Caucasian students enrollment drop by 320,000 students, with Latino enrollment skyrocketing by 349,000. With more
we're sort of a monolingual culture, even though we're kind of a melting pot and we have lots of different cultures but we're so focused on English, and we assume that ethnocentrically, that everybody's going to learn English. But we're finally reason that bilingualism is key, because we need to compete with the global market.
Assistant Provost for Admissions Michael Barron said the UI makes every effort to ensure that college-ready students of minority backgrounds are made aware of everything available on the UI campus.
And now Daily Iowan TV Sports, Nick Robertson is here for your look at Hawkeye Sports.
Frustration. A word that has been used a lot this week by Hawkeye fan base after the Hawkeyes lost last weekend to the Minnesota Golden Gophers, the same team that lost its previous 3 games by a margin of 144-31. Kirk Ferentz met with media Tuesday to discuss where his team goes from here and the task of bringing down the Michigan Wolverines.
Now our focus turns to Michigan, who's got an excellent football team. They're a one-loss football team, and kind of comment on there's anytime you play Michigan, I think it's a general statement. They've got excellent players. They're very well coached, and obviously they're having a lot of success right now in all 3 areas. They've really played well in all 3 areas, all 3 phases. So it's going to be a real stiff challenge for our football team. Certainly good to be back home. That's always a good thing, no matter what time of year it is. And then moving forward, our focus is on improvement. So, we got plenty of things to concentrate on. We'll start that up this afternoon.
The defining play of last Saturday's game was Minnesota's successful onside kick late in the 4th quarter. Coach Ferentz said he takes all the blame for the miscue, but remains optimistic that special teams is improving.
The onside kick, I'll take that one. How's that? Okay, because, just as soon as he started making his approach, I almost called timeout. I'm standing right next to an official, and I should have in retrospect, but I didn't. So that's the way it goes. On special teams, we're actually gaining ground, yet special teams play, we didn't get what we needed out of special teams, if that makes any sense. So the root of the cause is, I'm not overly concerned about. I think there are things that certainly can be addressed and will be,
Frustration seemed to be the word of the day, but Coach Kirk Ferentz says his team feels a little bit different about the loss in Minneapolis.
It's frustration. I think it was disappointment on our part. That's, if you wanted me to pinpoint one feeling I think all of us had on Saturday, it'd be disappointment. It's disappointing to lose. And, but that's life. You get back up and go to work the next day.
With the loss fresh in their minds, players are trying to look past the frustrations of the past weekend and look towards taking on the Michigan Wolverines and one of the most explosive players in college football today, Denard Robinson.
I mean, it's the same place any loss. I mean, I hate to lose. Our team hates to lose, and it's something that we can't do. You know, we got to find a way to get it done.
Yeah, I mean, it was a tough loss, but I mean, we have 4 games left in the regular season on our schedule, so we're just going to go out and play those games. And as far as this week, we have a big game in Michigan, and just going to go out and compete and try to win it.
We know every opponent we play is good. I mean, it's not like Minnesota wasn't a Big Ten team. They're a good team, and we didn't do what we should have to win that game. And we know we have another good team coming in here this week in Michigan, and we're going to move forward this week and give it our best shot.
Challenge is just, doing what we need to do as offense, continue to execute and continue to learn how to finish drives and not hurt ourselves. It's just to come down to a game of who makes the less mistakes.
The defense is giving up on average, I think it's 200 yards a game or something. Past years, that wasn't the case, but this year, it's happened more often than not. So, we just got to, like I said, someone else earlier, just work on the little things, whether it's getting off blocks, playing blocks properly, and then, just run to the ball, wrap up and tackle.
Keeping contained, making sure we stay disciplined in the play, keep our heads on the swivel. He can threaten us in the air or his feet, so we just got to stay grounded and disciplined.
The Hawkeyes and the Wolverines have both faced the Gophers, and each with both a very different result. If you compare each team has done against the Gophers, a couple of statistics stick out. Iowa gave up more than 200 yards more than Michigan and was never able to reach the Gopher quarterback, Marquise Gray. Even though offense production seems to be similar, Iowa's defense seems to be the key in this matchup. For more information about this weekend's matchup, tune in on Thursday night for Daily Iowan's pregame show. And that's all for Daily Iowan Sports Update. Back to you on the news desk.
Thanks, Nick. And only with Daily Iowan TV can you get a sneak peek into Wednesday's pages of the Daily Iowan. Read about how the federal government's recent withdrawal of funding for UNESCO will affect Iowa City. Plus, see how the Iowa women's soccer team is preparing for their match against Michigan State in the Big Ten tournament.
And before we go, here's one last look at Wednesday's forecast. Tomorrow is going to be a bit chilly with a high of 55 degrees and an 80% chance of showers. By nighttime, we should see a low of 36 and rain until 1 a.m. Thursday morning.
That's your latest edition of Daily Iowan TV. Be sure to check us out at the same time tomorrow or anytime online at dailyiowan.com.
For Daily Iowan TV, thanks for watching and have a great night.